Episode 20. Happy Monday, everybody. It's I Hate Infinite Jest. Again, episode 20. That is XX in the Roman numerals. One away from a porno. We're doing pages 563 to 593. My guest this week, I have been referencing him since roughly episode 3. Very excited to have him on. David C. Jensen, a.k.a. Infinite Jensen. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Glad to hear. Very glad to hear. Before we get started, where can we find you online? What are you putting out there? What should the people go see?
Well, I'm Infinite Jensen on Twitter, also on Tumblr, Infinite Jensen also, where I think on Twitter is full of all kinds of weird stuff, but the Tumblr has just my drawings of Infinite Jest in descending order, because that's how that works.
Yeah,
So if you want to start at the beginning, you have to start at the end.
exactly. Plus, if I recall, you do actually have it numbered. You have the sketches numbered by the page that the scene appears on, if I do recall correctly.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, they make no sense.
Yeah, it would be. It's not. You're not going to get lost. Let's put it that way. To listening
Right.
audience. So yeah, I was just you and I were just discussing. I have been referencing your artwork on this podcast for quite a while, and I only recently reached out to have you on. I don't know why it never occurred to me, but yeah, your sketches have done a lot to really help me get my hooks into this book, because I had a real problem with the tone at first. I feel like people say this book is a comedy, yet part of it is a comedy, but so much of it is so filled with pain and anxiety that it's really, I had a hard time picturing just about anything. But once I actually got to look at your sketches, which granted are but one of many, it's your own personal interpretation, but it really helped me solidify when I started seeing things as a bit more cartoonish, they started making more sense to me. Like when we had, I believe it was Hal, when he's talking with the grief instructor, and then at the end, this gigantic man has these little tiny baby hands. It was when I saw your sketch of that, okay, I get why this is funny now. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome. This book strikes me as a cartoon. It's very tragic, but it's ridiculous at the same time. And it's, to me, very visual. I started by listening to the beginning of an audiobook of Infinite Jest. And I decided to read the book, and I have a terrible memory. In reading, my comprehension is good, but my retention is terrible.
Personally, with this book, if I were not actively taking notes every week, I don't think I'd remember who people were from week to week. Especially because I get into it in this week, Oren pops back up and you realize we haven't seen Oren in 150 pages. Now, obviously Oren is very important to the story, but if we get to somebody like an Erdity or a Kate Gompert or a Randy Lenz we meet early on, if not for having done this podcast and really gone over with a fine-tooth comb like it was homework, because it was, I don't know if I would have had any retention to who those people were when they actually showed back up.
Oh yeah. And the other thing, and you've mentioned it too, I've found that you don't get character descriptions sometimes for hundreds of pages later.
Yeah.
So you're familiar with a character,